Good morning. Hopefully you have your warm-up in front of you. We are going to be solving quadratic equations by using the zero product property that you learned last week. However, the problems are going to be a little more challenging. So before you start these, let's look at just a quick review of what you learned last week, hopefully. The zero product property stems from the idea if you have two things being multiplied to be zero, A times B equals 0, either A or B equals 0. Seems simple enough, so remember, if I have something in factored form and 0 is on one side, which is important, then this expression equals 0 or this expression equals 0. So you literally take that expression, set it equal to 0, solve for x, do the same thing with x plus 5, set it equal to 0, solve for x. So you will get two solutions there. Now, remember, sometimes the expression on the other side of 0 is already factored for you. Don't multiply it out. All you do is set each factor equal to 0 and solve for the x values. If you have 0 on one side and you have a quadratic over here, you need to first factor that expression and then repeat the process. Just set each factor equal to 0. And in this case, I'm going to get x equals -3 and -1. So again, go back and watch those videos from last week if you were absent or if that's still a little fuzzy, because now what's going to happen on the warm-up is we don't have 0 on one side. So the first step is to either add or subtract all of your terms over to the other side so that we can use factoring or the zero product property. Okay, so I'm going to get the first two started with you. We'll pause the video and you guys try the rest. So on number 1, we have 9x squared equals 16. We could move either term to either side, but I always tell my students keep the squared term positive. Usually that's easiest. So I'm going to subtract the 16 over to this side and rewrite this as 9x squared minus 16 equals 0. And then remember, we're going to go through our options of factoring. So remember, look for your GCF. I'll actually write these out up here. So always look for a GCF first. Look for your difference of squares. Okay. Or if it's a trinomial, you're just going to do either your box, diamond, grouping, whichever method you chose to do, where it's going to be in two sets of parentheses. Okay, so the first one, 9x squared plus 16 equals 0, does not have a GCF, but it is a difference of squares. So hopefully you're getting better at recognizing those. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 4 times 4 is 16, and it's a plus minus. So we're going to factor that completely, set each factor equal to 0. And when you subtract 4 and divide by 3, you'll get x equals 4/3. Okay. Or on this one, add 4, divide by 3, you'll get x equals 4/3. I'm sorry, the first one was -4/3. The second one is +4/3. Regardless, you're just solving those two basic equations, and you should get the two solutions there. Sorry, a little messy there. Okay, let's quickly look at number 2. Similar, I want to keep the x squared positive. I have x squared plus 2x. I need to move the 8 over to this side. So I'm going to subtract 8. We're going to rewrite this as x squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. And it's important that you have it in that form, meaning the x squared first, your linear term second, and the constant third, because you need it in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, and then going through the factoring, there is no GCF. It's not a difference of squares. So we go ahead and do grouping, diamond box, trial and error, what your preferred method is. This one becomes xx 4 and 2, and we get a plus minus. So if you box that out, it should work. And again, set each of these factors equal to 0. Okay, minus 4 will give me x equals negative 4. Okay, and add 2, we should get x equals 2. All right, so that's 2 examples for you. I'd like you to try 3 and 4 for solving, and we'll check the answers. Also factor completely on 5 and 6. Go ahead and pause this video, try these, and I'll put up the solutions shortly and show you a few more examples. All right, so here are the solutions to the ones you should have tried. All right, and go ahead and pause those, check your solutions. Hopefully there's no errors here. And I do want to show you a few other ways that you'll see on your homework that the zero product property will occur that are a little more challenging. So I've got 2 examples here to show you. In number 1, hopefully we see that this is a cross multiplication problem. So go ahead and copy that down. X plus 4 divided by 9 equals x divided by x minus 2. Okay. We're going to go ahead and cross multiply. And on one side we will have x plus 4 times x minus 2 is equal to 9x. Okay, and remember to correctly multiply out the 2 binomials. Should be x squared minus 2x plus 4x minus 8. And that's equal to 9x. Simplify x squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 9x. Okay, so at this point, remember, once you recognize you have a quadratic, you need 0 on one side to apply the zero product property. So since I have my x squared term is positive here, I'm just going to move this 9x over here by subtracting. Okay, so I'm going to minus 9x, minus 9x. And that will become now x squared minus 7x minus 8 equals 0. And then you go about factoring the result. Now that we have 0 on one side, we can factor and solve. Okay, and I'll just go through the factoring quickly. We have a minus 8 and plus 1, which means when I set these equal to 0, I should get x equals 8 and negative 1. All right. So again, go back and watch this video. If I'm going back over this too quickly, it will be posted on the calendar for you, or pause this as needed. So that's a proportion example. Number 2, we have not a proportion, but a fraction buster. So when you have an x in the denominator, remember, we're going to need to multiply by something with an x. So we've got a 4, an x, and an x. So I want to clear the fractions by multiplying each term by 4x. Again, I always like to multiply that 3 times, writing it out so I can visually cancel and see what's left over. So the 4 should cancel here, leaving me with x, and distribute this. X times x is x squared minus 5x. The second term, the x will cancel, leaving me with minus 4 equals. Over here, the x cancels with the x, so I'm left with that 4 to distribute. So I'm going to have 4 times 2, which is 8, minus 4x. All right, so from here, once again, we notice, oh, I've got a quadratic. I have to move all of these terms over to here correctly, working with my signs and combining like terms and factor. So if you're getting something that does not factor, go back and check your signs and all your arithmetic. So I'm going to subtract 8 and add 4x to this side. Notice I'm lining it up under the like terms so that I can clearly see my signs here. So we have x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0. Okay, once we have 0 on one side, we get to factor. There's no GCF, so we just go to factoring the two binomials. Got minus 4 plus 3. And set each factor equal to 0. So x is 4, and x is negative 3. All right, so once again, I will have these videos posted on the calendar for you to refer back to if you need to see these again. Hopefully that's enough to get you started on the homework tonight. Good luck. Hope to see you in a few days. Bye.